Hey, everybody. My name is Danny Dumas, and this is the Earn Your Title podcast. And I have my friend Vince Terback here. And with Christmas coming up and the challenges of not only like not gaining 50 pounds, but maybe even being healthy, we're going to have a conversation about that and the challenge. And so, Vince, why don't you tell me what you do, and then we can talk about how we can help these guys have a good holiday season.
Yeah, that's great. I'll keep it short and sweet. I help busy dads get their energy back, lose body fat, improve body composition. And I do that primarily online. I do meet with some clients in person, but primarily help them with their fitness, nutrition, and lifestyle.
Awesome. What do you think is like the biggest hurdle the guys, especially like in the dad group, is facing as far as being healthy?
Man, we could have a 6-hour podcast on that. But I would say the biggest barrier is what they used to do. And now that they're dads and they're full fleshed in their careers, what they used to do doesn't work very well with that busy schedule. And because most people in general are just kind of all or nothing because they can't do it exactly how they used to do it, they struggle to do anything at all. So it's really just understanding how to have your cake and eat it too while being a busy dad, because you can certainly be healthy. So it's just really first and foremost, ditching the mindset of all or nothing is barrier number one.
Yeah. And when a guy comes to you for coaching, usually what is that barrier that they need to get over as far as like, is it they obviously need to do something different. Like we talked before, like I realized I'm at the point in my life as 44, I can't outwork my diet. Like as hard as I want to, if I don't eat, healthy, I will not be healthy. I can't, I have a friend that runs marathons, and he ran his last marathon. He's had like 5 or 6 weeks off. He goes, how's this going? He's like, it's great. I've only gained 2 pounds. Cause usually he's like, I'm training, I'm running, everything's good. And he's like, then I gained 15 pounds because it's been 6 weeks, but I kept eating like I was training for running, and he has it. So what's the journey for guys to kind of change? What are they actually changing?
Yeah. So, changing a lot of things. I think first and foremost, a lot of our eating habits and just our way around food and fitness starts at a really young age. And a child with one parent who's overweight or obese has a 50% chance of becoming overweight or obese themselves. And if both parents are overweight, that child has an 80% chance of growing up to be overweight or obese. And so the old apple doesn't fall too far from the tree analogy goes a long way with those stats. So a lot of the guys, unfortunately, just have a lot of bad habits that stem from really early on in life. And because, I'm 42, so we're very similar in age, and our parents' knowledge around nutrition was very limited. At least my parents were. And I think a lot of parents, a lot of guys can speak to that. So one, just helping them better understand the knowledge around nutrition and some of the basics. And then really just helping them with that knowledge, then help plan out their day and better understand what they need to be able to fuel their body. So step number one is starting to get them some knowledge. And step number two is starting to give them some clarity on what they need to do by a step-by-step basis. So I help customize everything for all my clients. So those steps could look different depending on where you are in your journey, but just helping them get clarity on, okay, my schedule's so crazy. I'm so busy. I can't focus on everything. What's the one or two things? And I help them figure out what that is for them to then start taking action. And then we slowly build upon.
So what is that? Do you have a knowledge base? Like, are you saying, hey, go read this book, listen to this podcast, and do this? Like, what the resources do you have to give someone like, this is the good knowledge? Because there's a ton of information. Like if you want justification to only eat apples every day, you could find a study and an expert that says you could live to be 100 years if you just eat apples. So how does a guy know? Because I mean, the amount of like fitness book, diet books, blogs, influencers is immense. How do you know what's the good stuff?
Yeah, that's a great question. If I said I knew the answers to that, I'd be lying like every other person that says they know the answer to that. I do have a master's degree. I have been coaching for 15 plus years. I have multiple certifications. I've worked with thousands of clients. So I've been doing this for a long time, and it picked up on the trends of things that work for people and things that don't work for people. And it is different strokes for different folks. And I think that's part of the benefit of getting one-on-one customized coaching is it's not a one-size-fit-all answer. So in terms of finding the knowledge, what I help my guys do is we get results pretty quickly.
Gotcha.
And so I build a lot of trust with guys when I'm like, all right, based off of what you told me, these are the things we need to focus on. These are the results we can expect. And if they get those results, they become pretty trustworthy pretty quick because we're aligning, what we say we're going to do with what's actually happening.
Gotcha. So with weight loss, and I know you've got something coming up for getting you from like Thanksgiving to Christmas.
Yeah,
it's healthy. So we'll talk about that. But in general, and I think weight loss in our age category is probably near the top of, I want to be healthy. Some guys want some performance things, but usually if you can get your weight to where you want to be, all the performance stuff is helpful. Like I know if I said, hey, I want to run a marathon next October, it's probably helpful for me, one, to get to a good weight and then start running on, pounding my knees into the ground. Like that's probably a good idea. So with weight loss being kind of the main idea, where do you see the first steps? Like what is more important? Is it the diet? Is it eating? Or is it working out? Like where do you kind of direct guys with that's their primary goal?
Yeah, love it. And you got wonderful questions. So, if we had to divide it into three buckets, nutrition, the exercise piece, and then lifestyle. And from the lifestyle side of things, I'll bucket that with lifestyle as far as sleep and nervous system management, or another way to say that is stress management.
Gotcha.
So if we said there's three buckets, we need to work on lifestyle things, we need to work on nutrition, we need to work on fitness. Of course, we're going to work on all of that. Now, Danny, the underlying thing that we're ultimately working on and the thing that ultimately makes change is what's your identity?
Right.
How do you identify yourself? You identify yourself as the fat, lazy dad, you're probably going to be fat and lazy. So ultimately improving how you think about yourself and who you think you are versus who you want to become is really step number one, is improving identity. And that's really hard to do. So that's always kind of the underlining tone throughout each of my conversation with guys. And from there, when a client's working with me, I want to help them improve the greatest skill on earth, or at least I think it's the greatest skill on earth. Aligning your words and your actions.
Yeah.
If you can align your words and your actions, there's nothing that can stop you from whatever you want to conquer. So identity and aligning your words and actions are ultimately what we're trying to improve. But to answer your question more specifically, nutrition, hands down, is what we're going to focus on first and foremost. From an exercise perspective, I honestly just need you to do something. And that something could be as little as 10 push-ups while the shower's warming up, 10 squats while your kid's in the bath, like just something to get your body moving. But the nutrition side of things, and then I have layers inside of the nutrition that we'll put some emphasis on depending on where you're at.
Yeah, I think that the mindset thing makes sense to me. If you ask most guys, like, hey, are you an honest person? They would say, yeah, I try not to lie. I'm like, do you lie to yourself? Because most guys do. Or maybe not even lie is not the right word, but not keep promises.
Totally.
It's not like I'm lying to myself. It's like, tomorrow I'm going to get up at 5 and go work out. And in your head, you're like, man, I didn't go to bed till midnight. That's not enough sleep. I'm going to hit the snooze 7 times. Like, you know that. Like, like, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do that to myself. And I was like, don't lie to yourself. One, if you do go to bed at midnight, don't mess with yourself to say, yeah, I'm going to get up at 5. No, you're not. Just say, I'm not going to do that today. Maybe at noon, at lunch, I'm going to go do, push-ups at lunch. So I think that is, don't break promises to yourself, especially if you just can't keep them, because the life happens. And I think that's hard
Totally.
when you have those responsibilities and there's things you want to do, but then there's reality. Like if your kids are going to go play sports and you and your wife are like going to have 17 things to do, you're not going to, name the thing that's really important that day. So don't do it, but try something. Do you think most of your work is the mental side when you're doing those coachings and like the online actual coaching? It's mental. It's almost counseling.
Danny, I would never tell the internet that. I would never sell it that way, but it's hands down the magic of the program.
Right.
Of course. I'm not a psychologist or a doctor. Yep.
Right. I'm picking it up.
Yeah, but so definitely. So the mindset side of things is which will land better with guys if we start getting results. So that's where we do start with the nutrition side of things, and we start getting results. So that way, when the things that I am from the mindset piece side of things tend to land a lot better once we start getting results. But yes, the underlying program is 1,000% mindset. And that really goes to a lot of things in life is mindset.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Is that where the Dadletic thing is? It's the mindset. I'm a athlete at work. I'll tell people I'm a tactical athlete. I have that mindset, and that mindset means that I need to be able to physically do my job and I know what my job is. I need to be able to wear an SCBA for at least 20 minutes and go all out for 20 minutes. Like, that is my benchmark, because I know the air in my tank's going to run out. And so I have that in my head when I'm working out. I'm trying to get to that point where I'm taking that 20 minutes, maybe I'm making it 25. So is that where Dadletics is? It's like, hey, you're a dad, you're an athlete. Like, this is something. What do you train for as a dad? Obviously losing weight is the thing we think about, but what is like the physical requirements of being dad in your opinion?
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. So definitely a difference between dadlete, where I would use that word athlete.
Right.
I actually don't use the word athlete very often, because it's pretty clear if you're an athlete or not. You're competing and participating in an organized sport. So I do use the word athletic, and that's Dadletic is obviously really the name of the company. So in terms, and not that you were calling it any different, but just to delineate, words are obviously important. So from the athletic side of things, Dadletic comes from two main things. Is one question I asked dads is on one of our very first phone calls is, could you list, or can you list, the characteristics of what it means to be a good dad? And Danny, just off the top of your head, what are some characteristics you would say make a good dad, or what you try and live?
Yeah, I'd say to provide, obviously, both financially and physically for my family, to provide a safety, so they feel comfortable, a peaceful home, and the chance to be happy and to enjoy life.
Awesome. So, and Danny, the answers are very similar that I hear from guys. It's, this list of provide and protect and be loving and have fun and be honorable and, all these things. So it's just like, cool, you have all these words to describe the characteristics of being a great dad. How about we just sum that up? Instead of having to memorize all those words, what if we just sum it up into one? Be dadlet. The other side of the coin of Dadletic is typically when I ask guys, hey, when we're, because most guys do come to me for the weight loss or the body composition side of things. It's, hey, when did you have your best body composition, or when were you at the weight that you felt the healthiest? And it's typically when they were in their teens or in their early 20s and they were playing some kind of sport. Now, not all the guys played sports younger, but the majority of them did. And then they became a dad, and that's when things kind of fell off the rails. And so the word Dadletic is mashing these two worlds of when you were in your best shape, then you became a dad and things fell off a little bit, but you got really loving and really caring. You gained a lot of great qualities becoming a dad. Why don't we just mash these two worlds together and be Dadletic?
Yeah, that's awesome. One thing that I don't think dads in general think about is your physical health, and maybe like the strength and correct weight can make you a better dad on the soft skill sides. Like when you come home, if you're exhausted from work, from whether maybe you have a manual labor job, or maybe you're sitting at a desk and your 6-year-old said, "Dad, you want to wrestle?" And you're thinking, "I am so tired right now. I'm mentally." If you're not mentally drained and physically exhausted because you are healthy, you go wrestle. Like, and if you have little kids, realize, because I'm in this, I have the whole spectrum, 6 to 16. My 14-year-old daughter doesn't want to wrestle anymore. Year old son, well, he throws a little bit of jabs at me every now and then. The other day, he tried to swat at me, and I grabbed a hold of him. So we might wrestle a little bit. But my 14-year-old, she doesn't want to. But my 6-year-old, she wants physical contact at all moments of the day. And if I'm healthy, I can give that to her. I can meet the need of that physical touch, and you'll never get that back. And to have to say no because you're exhausted, or because your back hurts because you've been locked in a seat all day, take that, like, that shouldn't motivate you. If you've ever said no to your kids because you were tired, that shouldn't motivate you. Now, you can be tired. I do say no to my kids sometimes. My job's tough and hard, and sometimes I need to go take a nap. I'm not shaming you for it, but if it's a daily occurrence, go get some help. like to do something. And which I think it would be a good segue is, what do you have coming up? Like, what is this program taking us from, right around Thanksgiving to Christmas, New Year's? What is that?
Yeah, awesome. And just to hit real quick on your piece, definitely being able to play with your kids is like the ultimate goal. And I can tell you, I consider myself to be a manly man. I got an 800, testosterone. Like I love being gritty. I love, doing hard work type of deal. I tell you, man, every single time a dad comes to me who struggles with being overweight and they send me a picture of now exercising with their kids, there's nothing that from my heart melts my heart more, softens me up more than seeing that dad connect the dots and being like, oh, we should be doing this together.
Yeah.
So I appreciate you sharing that. So yeah, coming up on December 2nd through the December 22nd, I do have a 21-day Christmas challenge that I am proposing to dads. And what I'm calling it is basically Win the Holiday. And WIN is an acronym, WIN, and the W stands for weight management. So I don't necessarily care if you want to lose weight during this time of year, or if you just don't want to get too overweight, whatever it might be. I don't necessarily think that this time of year, unless you're have some serious medical conditions or you're seriously dialed in, I do think it's okay during this time of year for some guys just to be like, hey, the goal is just to not look like Santa Claus by the end of it. Right. And on average, American studies show, it's only 2 to 5 pounds gets gained during this holiday season. So it's not too bad. However, studies also show that weight never gets lost. So you start piling up 4, 5, 6 Christmases, and now you know where the 20, 30 pounds came from. So the W stands for weight management. So just helping you better understand, if you do want to lose some body weight, we can certainly help with that. Or if you just want to be able to kind of stay at an even kill and don't crush yourself too bad during the holidays, we'll help with that. And I'll dive into some more tactical things they can do inside of the weight management. The I stands for increase energy. So obviously there's a lot of overwhelm during this time of year, kids' activities, then the kids being home for an extended period of time with Christmas break, on top of all the social events, end of work projects, all that kind of stuff. So a lot of overwhelm. So what we want to do is help you increase some energy. And I have some steps for that as well. And then the N stands for newfound clarity. And Danny, I don't know if you've ever had a moment, whether it's with your business or maybe when you thought about this podcast, of like, man, when you get clarity on something, like how motivating it is and how much more likely you're to take action once you do have some clarity. So I also want to help dads out with that. And selfishly, the challenge will be 21 days, but really what I want to help guys do is take that momentum from the 21 days, not only win the holiday, but take that momentum and go win 2025.
Yeah, I think that's awesome. And, as humans, I think we always look for the natural reset date. It's January 1st, or if you go to the gym on January 2nd, packed. If I had a gym membership, I wouldn't go in January.
Totally.
I have a nice gym in my basement. I have a really nice gym at work, and I skipped the actual, commercial gym. But it's that reset, and I think that's awesome. And the idea that you could do it before that, and you could go into the first of the year with a win. I think sometimes we think of a holiday or vacation, whatever you want to call it, as the time to just kind of let go.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know what? I'm leaving tomorrow. I'm going down south to see my sister for Thanksgiving, and it's easy to go, I'm just going to let things go. But what if you changed your mindset and said, I don't have to work. I'm not going to have to work for 2 weeks. I have almost 13 days off. What if, because I don't have the stress of work, I focused on me and getting healthy? Like, that's awesome.
That's crazy thinking, Danny.
Yeah. And then on Thursday at Thanksgiving, go nuts. Eat the whole turkey. You want to eat the bones? Go for it. Chew on them.
Totally.
So maybe break down some, like, the tactical side of weight management.
Yeah.
Intention, or what was the I? I'm sorry.
Increase energy.
And
then newfound clarity.
Yeah.
Yep.
Let's break that, what that would look like.
Awesome. So from the weight management side of things, I think really simple. What helps my guys most is obviously being proactive with your food. If you're reactive with your food and you're deciding what to eat when you're starving, you're going to make dramatically different choices than if you think about your food in advance and plan it. Fair enough?
Yeah, that's fair enough.
Awesome. So for the majority of my guys, eating 4 meals a day works best for them. Now you could say, hey, I normally only eat 3 times a day, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and then I have a snack. Well, that's 4 times a day. So you eat 4 times a day. I just like using the word meal instead of snack, because if we use the word meal, hopefully it gets you thinking about, okay, maybe I should have some protein, maybe a fruit, maybe a veggie. Versus when you think snack, you think back of the cupboard, chips, candy bar, whatever. So I like to just use the word meals. So 4 meals a day. And instead of planning the day starting, I like to actually work backwards, because most people struggle with late night eating. And so we want to start there. So what I help guys do, 4 meals a day. So what you could do is just figure out roughly what time you're going to go to bed. Now, if you go to bed at the same time every time, this will be pretty easy. But if you're anything like most people, it's pretty sporadic. So you'll have to think about this in the morning. So Danny, for example, what time you plan on going to bed tonight?
I'll go to bed tonight around 10:30, 11.
All right, awesome. And so then all we're going to do is we're just going to work 3 hours backwards from bedtime to say that's when meal 4 is going to happen. So we'll say around 7:30 would be meal number 4 for you. Now, in terms of like dinner with the family, do you guys typically have dinner together? And if so, what time is that?
So I actually, my life, I split it up. I have work life and home life, because I live station. So at work, I eat at 6.
Cool.
Because that's what we've done for the last 120 years, and we do not break tradition. So we eat at 6 and we eat at noon at work. But at home, usually eat around the 4:35, because the kids are getting home from school at 4. Sometime between 4:30 and 5.
Awesome. So that works great. So we start 3 hours prior to bed. The main reason we're doing 3 hours prior to bed, it's going to help us with the increased energy side of things, is eating 3 hours prior to bed has shown to be able to help you with deep and REM sleep. So when we talk about increasing your energy, you getting more deep in REM sleep, or getting adequate deep in REM sleep, is going to do wonders for your energy. And eating outside of that 3-hour window improves that deep in REM sleep. If you start to eat inside of that window, you start affecting the deep in REM sleep, which is going to ultimately crash some energy. So that's why we're doing 3 hours prior to bed. Okay. And then we work backwards about every 2 to 4 hours, depending on your schedule. Gotcha. So if you're at home, it'd be around 4:30, which fits, it's a 3-hour window from meal 3 to meal 4. What time would you typically have lunch when you're at home?
Around noon.
Cool. And then what time would you typically have breakfast?
I'm not a big breakfast eater. I'm not, that first meal of the day for me is usually somewhere between 11 and noon.
Okay, cool. And so one, we could work specifically through that scenario. I would say the majority of guys do eat breakfast in the morning. So cool. So if you have breakfast 7 to 8 o'clock, you have lunch, you have meal number 2 at noon, you have dinner with the family. So that's meal number 3 around 4:30, 5 o'clock. And then you have meal number 4 at around 7:30. Just simply writing down when you're going to eat, and then not eating in between those meal times. And the analogy that I like to use is, Danny, I'm sorry, what's your wife's name? I never asked.
Andrea.
Andrea. What's a restaurant you and Andrea like to go to?
Cruisemere.
Are they open 24/7? Nope. So if you call them at 2 o'clock in the morning to order the pork chops, what are they going to tell you?
Yeah, you can voicemail.
Kick rocks, right? Kitchen's closed. And so then that's the mentality that I like to help the guys through, is set your meal times, and then in between meal times, kitchen's closed. Sorry, you can't order anything. Now, if you're anything like me and a lot of guys, you work from home, so the kitchen you always have access to, but you need to develop the mindset of the kitchen is closed. And then there's a plethora of reasons why it's beneficial to not eat in between meals. So tactical tip number 1 from the weight management is just plan your meal times in advance and adopt the mindset that the kitchen is closed in between meals. Now, Danny, that also means once you get done with meal number 4 at 7:30, the kitchen's closed till the next day.
You kill me, Vince. That's a tough one.
Totally.
Yeah, honest with myself and not go in there.
Yeah. We'll have to do our best. And obviously, if a guy struggles with that, we'll certainly work through it. But I can tell you, sticking to the 4 meals and having a meal plan, because 7:30 is not your dinner time, right? So having a meal planned after dinner should hopefully help you from going off the rails type of a deal.
Yeah.
So without even talking about what to eat or how much to eat and all that stuff, which is obviously beneficial, first goal is just plan your meal times. You can plan
That's easy. I mean, it's not, I should say simple. It's probably not easy.
totally.
Simple, meaning, it doesn't take much to do that, but stopping eating is probably going to be a major hurdle for guys, 100%.
Yeah, and I'm glad you said that. Danny, if I could share, is it okay if I share the number one complaint I get from my clients?
Yep. Let's hear it.
Keep in mind, the majority of them are there for weight loss. The number one complaint that I get, Danny, is I can't eat all this food.
That's crazy.
Which is a funny thing coming from someone trying to lose weight, because typically most people think they need to starve themselves in order to lose the weight. So we totally flip you upside down when, it's just the funniest thing in the world, as I can't eat all this food. So obviously we'll work through if late night snacking still happens, yada, yada, yada. But write your meal plans down, as you mentioned, simple to do, and hopefully it becomes really easy. The other thing from the weight management side of things is now that you have those 2 to 4 hour windows between meals, is I would love for you to drink 20 ounces of water during that time.
In between each meal?
In between each meal. So not with your food, but in between the meals. And the likelihood of you being overhydrated versus dehydrated is just night and day difference that most people are dehydrated. Now, obviously you're a fit and active person, so probably don't struggle with water. But a lot of guys, unfortunately, do. And that 2 to 4 hour window in between meals, drinking that water will also help you avoid the snack closet as well. So hopefully the mentality of kitchen is closed on top of filling your belly up with 20 ounces of water should do the trick on getting you to your next meal.
What's your take on flavored water?
Now, flavored how? From electrolytes or from zero?
Yeah, like a liquid IV or something with 0 calories.
Yeah, I mean, we just got to be careful with artificial sweeteners in the sense of just from a gut health side of things is you're probably getting a lot of artificial sweeteners from a lot of your other foods. But at the end of the day, if that's what gets you to drink the water, cool. I can work with that. Sounds great.
Like I have me and two of my daughters. We're all water drinkers all day long. My son and my wife, I don't know how they're not dust. They just drink like I never see you drink anything. They're just dry. Trying. And some guys are like that. They're like, I just don't like the taste of water. In my head, I can't empathize. I don't understand that
totally.
But if a guy's struggling with this, it's better to have water. If the only way you can have it is have something make it taste like lemonade, that's okay. It's better to have it, but it would be much better to not have it would just straight water. That's better for the gut biome. And I think there's a reason why you don't drink it at meals. I'm guessing there's a reason. Is there a reason? What is that reason?
So that's actually my third tactical tip from the weight management side of things is to chew slowly. So there's a lot of reasons to not drink the water with the food. But what I ultimately want to avoid is people normally drink water because they suck at chewing their food. In the process of chewing your food and properly turning it into paste before it gets into your stomach allows your stomach acid to build up. So that way, when you do swallow the food, you absorb and are able to use the nutrients a whole lot more effectively. So if you're drinking the water, drinking the liquids with your food, it's most likely because you're not chewing very well. So your body then struggles to digest and absorb big chunks of food. You don't let stomach acid come up enough. So you're really messing up the process of being able to properly digest and absorb and use the nutrients from your food.
That makes complete sense.
Yeah. So in terms of the water side of things, if you did need to add something, I would prefer adding electrolytes. So electrolytes are just sodium, potassium, and magnesium. You can buy those just off the shelf type of a deal. Or of course, there's plenty of supplement companies out there selling their concoction of sodium, magnesium, potassium, and some kind of flavor.
Do you have one that recommends from a just you like it standpoint?
Yeah, I do. BPN, Bear Performance Nutrition. It's a kid down in Texas. Started off a long time ago, 10 years ago, just in his apartment. Now he has this massive complex. Nick Bear is the guy's name. So he's incredible social media presence. So I really like his products. BPN electrolytes are great. And they have a bunch of different flavor options as well.
I'll link that in the show notes so guys can check that out.
Sure. Okay. So from a weight management side of things, plan your meals. drink your water, chew slowly.
Seems fair.
Simple. All right. So the I in the win side of things. So the I is increased energy, and the greatest restoration of energy comes from a good night's sleep. There's nothing on planet Earth. There's no amount of caffeine. I've never tried cocaine. I do hear it's a hell of a drug, but in terms of actually feeling energized, a good night's sleep is our best bet. And so obviously there's always extenuating circumstances, being a firefighter, having a kid, having a toddler, an infant is going to wake you up. Maybe you have a kid who deals with night terrors, whatever it might be. There's always extenuating circumstances. But with that being said, you might as well still set yourself up for the best night's sleep possible, even if you don't get it. So with that being said is 10, 3, 2, 1, 0. 10 hours prior to bed, try and limit any caffeine.
Okay.
So if we already planned out from our meal times what time we're going to bed, so you said around 10:30, so just work backwards 10 hours. So that means around 12:30, no more caffeine for you. The 3 stands for 3 hours prior to bed, no food, which we already know that for you would be 7:30. 2 is limiting any liquids 2 hours prior to bed. So any kind of liquid, that could be water to alcohol. Now, this works really great for my guys who do like to drink like a nightcap before bed, whiskey before bed type of deal. Is I can help get them to hopefully slow that down a little bit by trying to avoid any liquids 2 hours prior to bed. The main purpose of that is so that you don't have to wake up and go to the bathroom. Now, as a guy, all of our prostates are growing, so it is an inevitable thing to struggle to stay asleep throughout the entire night. But once again, we might as well set ourselves up for best case scenario. So that's 10, 3, 2, and then the 1 is turning off any overhead lights 1 hour prior to bed. Turning off any overhead lights. You could have some lamps on at the side or maybe a light on in the other room type of a deal, but we want to turn off overhead lights to help our body circadian rhythm into, hey, the sun went down. Now, As we know, in Michigan right now, the sun's going down at 5 o'clock. Yeah. It's, we can't have all the lights off all day long, but that 1 hour prior to bed, making sure you turn off overhead lights will help set that circadian rhythm. And then the 0 stands for no snoozes on your bedtime and no snoozes on your wake time. So all of these, the 10, 3, 2, 1, 0 are all set up to give you the best chance possible at getting adequate deep sleep and REM sleep. Getting adequate deep sleep is God's way of giving us a testosterone shot every single night. Would you like more testosterone, Danny?
Have it. Yeah.
Heck yeah. You get a free shot by God every single night if you can get adequate deep sleep every night. So deep sleep is responsible for restoring our hormones way beyond testosterone, but most of us guys know testosterone. And the REM sleep side of things is basically the garbage men of our brain have enough time to take out all the garbage. Adenosine is something that gets built up into our brain the longer we stay awake, and we need to be able to clear that adenosine out to be able to then feel awake. And so what coffee does a great job of is coffee fits into the parking spots where adenosine should be. But if you've been up all day or you've had a really stressful day and you have too much adenosine and that caffeine has no receptor to park its spot into, you don't get that bump from caffeine like you once did, or, you could drink a whole pot and still fall right asleep. That's a problem.
Yeah.
So all of this, so the REM sleep side of things and getting adequate REM sleep, give the garbage men of your brain enough time to clean out all that adenosine. So then that way you wake up feeling refreshed, mental clarity, good memory, all that good stuff. So 10, 3, 2, 1, 0 is, and real quick on the 0 is, if you have to set an alarm clock to wake up, I think it should be a law that you have to set an alarm clock to go to bed. I'm a little fictitious, a little mischievous on that, but just to make sure you go to bed on time, because that's when most of us kind of kick the can down the road is, I'll just stay up a little later. But if you have to wake up to an alarm clock, you should go to bed to an alarm clock. Get your butt in bed.
Yeah, a little hack. I'm sure it's probably on Android as well, but iOS has a bedtime feature. For me, it turns off my watch and it turns off my phone notifications. You can set it so like you can still have access to, like, your family can call you or text you, but yeah, it will make it harder to use your technology because it's bedtime.
Awesome. Yep, that's super, super helpful. And on the snooze side of things, have you ever hit the snooze? Are you a snoozer?
I'm a snooze guy. I love me a good snooze.
Love a good snooze. So our body goes through 90-minute cycles of sleep. So That's typically why we need around 6 to 8 hours worth of sleep time, so we can go through enough cycles to accumulate deep in REM sleep. Because you don't get, so the goal is 90 minutes in deep and 90 minutes in REM or more. And so you don't get all 90 minutes in one big chunk. You get a few minutes in one cycle, a few minutes in the next cycle. So by hitting the snooze, if I could ask you, do you feel refreshed when you finally get up from hitting the snooze button? Or is it just pulling your butt out of bed because it's enough's enough?
Yeah, it's probably enough. Like it does feel good to hit the. It doesn't feel good to wake up afterwards. Like to get that 6 more minutes of, or 9 more minutes, which is a random Apple thing. It's always 9 minutes.
Totally.
It feels, like going back to sleep feels good, but getting up, I'm never more refreshed.
Yeah. So with that being said, is because what's happening is hitting the snooze button, your body then starts dumping hormones to then put you back into a 90-minute cycle.
Gotcha. That's logical.
And so melatonin is a hormone. Melatonin, you ever take melatonin? You know people that take melatonin? Hopefully you don't have to take it. Your body's just really great at producing it itself to put you to sleep. But when you hit the snooze, your body starts dumping these chemicals saying, all right, I guess we're going back down for 90 minutes.
That's cool. No, that's logical.
Awesome.
But hard.
But hard, of course. Yeah. So increase your energy. We need a quality night's sleep, hopefully 10, 3, 2, 1, 0. Obviously, there's a lot there. Pick one of them, work on one of them to get some better sleep. And then the N is newfound clarity. And from the newfound clarity side of things, and we hit on it earlier, is first and foremost is who do you think you are? So in this journey, so obviously from a weight loss side of things is most of the guys, when I'm in conversation with them initially prior to being a client, it's like, hey, I'm sick and tired of being the fat guy.
Yeah.
So they think of themselves as the fat guy. So to get some clarity is one, we just have to decide, are you the fat guy or are you the fit guy that just has some fat on you that you need to get off? Because that's a totally different mindset on who you need to be and what you think you do and what you do, you get results from. So if you want different results, we got to do different things. And in order to do different things, we got to think about them differently. So first and foremost, from the clarity side of things is really identifying who you are and then putting your flag on the ground on like, today's the day that I'm not going to go away from this flag and this is who I am. And then from there, what I like about the coaching side of things and maybe a little bias to it is the accountability to helping you build the greatest skill on earth, aligning your words and your actions.
Yeah. The accountability is the major part. Like with this podcast, probably the last couple of months, I've been putting out at the end of every episode, I want to help men become better husbands, fathers, and leaders. And guys have reached out. And it's interesting because I've talked to guys who are very successful, have made millions of dollars, and they're struggling with a little thing. And I don't know how to help them get over that, but they know, and they just need someone else to go, on Monday, you're going to call me and tell me what you did, what you know you should do. And I understand that's powerful. It's simple, but it's like workout. If me and you worked out together, we would work out harder because we're in the gym. Even if we're not doing the same workout, we would work out. I'm like, I can't let this dude see me punk out on that. I said 5 reps, I'm doing 5. Like that's
totally
powerful. That's very powerful.
Totally. So to win the holiday, WIN is, pick those areas. So from the weight management to the increase energy to the newfound clarity is just, if you can, one is which one do you struggle with the most? Are you really focusing on the weight management side of things? Are you really focusing on increasing your energy during this time? Are you really focusing on getting that clarity again, especially moving in to 2025? So if it's overwhelming with all the tips today, is just pick one. And if you don't know the identity piece, I would start there. And if you struggle keeping your words and your actions, there's step number 2.
Gotcha. How do they do that? So how do I join the Win the Holiday Challenge? What is that process?
Yeah. So just simply on social media, on Facebook is the easiest place to find me, but Facebook or Instagram, shoot me a message. I have a document I'll send over with all the details of the challenge. If everything looks good, this is something you want to participate in. What we then do from there is just set up what I call a kickoff call the purpose of the kickoff call is just to make sure you're crystal clear on what you're going to do during the 21 days. Also, if you struggle with workouts, like you have no clue what to do in the gym, or you just want something new because you're tired of your old routine, I'll help come up with a customized workout routine. Same thing with the nutrition side of things. If you have no clue what to eat, if you do want to lose weight during this time, I'll help you set up with customized meals, ideas, help you get all the way down to the brass tacks on knowing exactly what to do, not only from a fitness side of things, but a nutrition side of things. So the purpose of the kickoff call, get you crystal clear on what the 21-day challenge is, get you crystal clear on fitness and nutrition that you want to do over that time. And then we'll kick things off on December 2nd. You'll go through the 21 days. I am capping the challenge to just 10 guys because there is a lot of customization on my end. And I take it very near and dear to my heart to make sure that when guys sign up for the program, they're signing up for results. And getting results is something that means the world to me. So I'll go, above and beyond getting these guys the results that they're after. So we're going to cap it at 10. At the end of the challenge, you'll have what's called a momentum call. And the purpose of that call is, how do we take the momentum from this challenge? And like I mentioned earlier, let's make 2025 your best year yet.
That's awesome.
So reach out to me on social media and I'll hook you up.
And I'll link it to wherever you give me the link.
Yep.
So you don't have to tell me now. We can edit this part out. Do you want to give a cost? How much is it going to cost?
Yeah, it's great. So it's normally $430 to get a month's worth of coaching with me. But with the holiday season, we're going to slash it all the way down. You get the customized workouts, the customized nutrition, the tracker for the 21-day, the community chat with the other guys for some more accountability. And you'll get the 2 bonus calls, the kickoff call and the momentum call, just $97.
Dude. That's amazing. Anything I didn't ask you about yourself, Dadletics, the challenge, anything that you want to share before we hop off this call?
No, man, you crush it. Great question, Aster. I love Jesus. I love my family, and whatever I can do to help a dad get in control of his health, I can't do the work for you, but I'm all in if you're all in.
Yeah. And so I didn't know how much it was going to be. We hadn't talked about this. Guys, you cannot get coaching for anything for $99. That is if you're not happy where you're at and you are going to need, there's only 9 spots available because I'm going to take one. Oh, that's where we hang up. I'm going to figure out how to make this happen. $100, you cannot tell your wife you don't want anything for Christmas. Give yourself the gift of becoming a better man, the mindset of who you want to be. Like, that's what this podcast is about. Better husband, father, leader. You can't do that without being healthy, without having the right mindset, and without having the energy to do that stuff. So you should jump on this. Yeah, jump on it. I think it's going to be awesome. Vince, man, thank you so much. This has been really good. My name is Danny Dumas, and this is the Your New Title Podcast, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.